first thing I would like to say that this is Tony Sayers. I found out about you because I had asked people on my Patreon. I would like to start talking to people that are awake and that have pieces to the puzzle, that we can go out of this arena and that we can share our ideas and grow our communities, because everyone needs to wake up.
Absolutely. Yeah, they definitely do. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we're in the very weirdest of times right now, aren't we? They're throwing the kitchen sink at us, literally.
Yes, and I say it all the
We've
time.
got wars, we've got mystery illnesses, we've got all the natural events, fires. I mean, if this was a horror film, it would be banned, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be poor. But you know, everything. I'm gonna put this in real quick. Everyone's talking about there's this war coming. Oh no, our war started with these.
Oh
This
yeah.
is World War III. Nobody saw it coming because this is a new war. This is a different type of a war. This is a war here, and it has come down to each and every one of us in the snow globe. We're not going to have bombs and ammunition. If they do anything like that, half of that is CGI, the other half is real.
Yeah.
But the real war started when this started. We are in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, as well with all of that stuff, that's really yeah, it's important to be aware of all that, but really all of this is coming from the unseen, and people
Yeah.
people sort of, especially in the like alternative media, they're very focused on the 3D physical version of what's going on, but we have to understand that all this evil is actually coming from the unseen. It's coming from these entities that are just outside of our visible sight. As humans, we're basically blind as to what else is out there. We can only see a very small spectrum of what we call the visible light. So people are walking around and thinking this is all there is, when actually there's a whole lot more in the same space, and those beings that we can't see are really kind of running the show at the moment, or they have been for many years. And yeah, they're hopefully, like you say, their time's starting to run out. So I think what we're seeing right now is quite a lot of desperation. I think I liken it to like a cornered rat. They're like a cornered rat, and so they know they're cornered, so they're trying to scare us with all these different things. And as you say, they've got the CGI and I mean, it's all just tricks and deception and manipulation. That's why it's called a matrix. That's what they do. They're deceivers. And yeah, that same deceptive energy is running the astral as well. When you look in terms of what I call false light beings, these archangels and friendly alien races and all this stuff. This is all.
I'm going to say one little thing real quick, Tony. I have discovered all of your gods, all of your angels, all of your deities are nothing but the simulation.
Oh yeah.
So when I have people asking me about, oh, this god or this angel, I'm like, if you like dealing with the sim.
Yeah. And the problem is that people want something to lean into to make themselves feel better, and I get it. I say this all the time on my channel that, people, because this place is, let's face it, the overarching theme is suffering and trauma and stress, and like even the basic things we were talking about offline, just having to pay to put a roof over your head, to pay for food. Like you don't see the birds or the animals out there like paying money to do all that. It's just to survive, right? But we've accepted these things as normal, and the whole place is set up for us to feel stressed, anxious, and suffer.
I will say one more thing. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I like talking. I'm going to interject this. Now that I've discovered that we are the 0 point energy, the true 0 point energy, how do you get energy out of something. First, you squash it down in size,
Hmm.
you compact it, and then you shock it.
Yeah.
And what happens when you shock it? Boom! More energy, more energy.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
why you're always having terrible things happen to you constantly,
Hmm.
because I need you to produce more energy. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah, you know, like the those electric prods
Yeah,
that they prod the farm animals. That's basically what's going on. I mean,
yep,
people get triggered when I say that this is a farm and we're the cows, right? But
the truth.
yeah, it's the truth. You know, we are batteries for the matrix basically, and we power this whole simulation. So as you say, they're constantly prodding and poking us,
Hmm.
and that's literally how they feed. Just like farm animals are our food, unless you've swallowed the vegan agenda, of course. Then we're the same, and so yeah, I always try and look at things for what they are rather than how I want them to be. You know, we see a lot of talk in like the kind of new age BS circles about, ascending to new earths and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's just nonsense.
Okay,
It's
this thing about ascending to new earth, you're not going to ascend anywhere. You'll have to create it, which
yeah,
means you're going to have to undo the damage. It isn't sitting there waiting for you. You have to do it. You're the emotion, the mover. You have to make it. And if you can't do it with all this opposition, well,
yeah. It really annoys me when I hear that because it's just spiritual bypassing. I mean, I look at all the dark stuff here, and even yesterday I saw a video of humans being trafficked in the Congo, and they were all in this big pit, all naked, to go and work in the mines. So there's actually humans that are bred to do things like that, to be literal slaves in mines, and children as well. And then these new agers want to come at you and say that this is the new earth and everything's love and light and all this nonsense. And it really annoys me, and it's just complete spiritual bypassing, and people gobble it up because it makes them feel all gooey inside. The same as the whole, my guides have got my back. Well, if your guides have got your back, why are you here for the thousandth frigging lifetime, right? Why are you
yeah,
back
yeah.
round again on the soul recycling roundabout? If your guides care about you and all this nonsense, and then they'll say, yeah,
Oh, there's,
we're all here to learn lessons. Well, why do they wipe,
yeah.
why do they wipe your memory when you die?
There you
Like,
go. There you go.
what's the
I will
point?
say something about that too. First off, at one point, that might have been the scenario, which when I look back, people came in here, but they could leave. That stopped. That stopped. When that stopped, this became the trap. This became the prison. This is what it is. When I look at when people die, the first thing is they have to get you to agree to something. So you're a good being and you're made to feel like shit. But the next thing you need to say is, wait a minute, before you give me a soul review, let's look at you. Let's look at you. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen when I pass away. I'm going to be like, come on, bring it on, bring it on. Because the second you open your mouth and say anything to me, I'm going to say, let's judge you. How many people have you put down into hell? Because this is a form of hell.
Yeah, yeah.
When you're being tortured on every level, then what makes you so good? Remember, everything that's out there, when you die, it's still the program running.
Well, the thing is that they're very snidey in how they word that, because
Mm-hmm.
I've studied hours and hours of NDEs. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
and I honestly, I sit there and I hear the same things all over and over again. Earth's a school. We're here to learn lessons. We're here to resolve karma. Where do you see karma playing out in this reality? You got big.
There's no karma. And I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah,
Because if there was karma, none of this crap would be happening now, would it?
no, absolutely. I mean, you have like humans that are being trafficked, like, or children in Gaza getting limbs blown off.
What about Dubai? Look
And
what they're
then you,
doing to the people in Dubai.
and then you have big fat pedophiles that run the world. They have all the money, they have all the resources, and they're living the high life. So please tell me where the karma is playing out here, because I can't see it, right?
What
So
is that old saying?
just to finish my point is that what they do, which is very snidey, is when you go for your life review, when you die, they're like, they make a point of saying, we're not here to judge you. But then what do they do? They show you your worst bits, right? So you're sitting there and you're watching all the times that you've been an asshole, and then they make you feel how the person felt when you hurt them, right? So they double down on the guilt and shame program. And so, of course, if you believe in heaven and hell, or you believe karma, then they use that card against you. They say, hey, Sonia, you know, you're a good person, but look what you did to Dave Jones back in, 2005. I mean, look, you made him a wreck. We're just going to press this button and you're going to feel what he felt. And then you feel all the, like, whatever he felt. And then you're going to feel shit about yourself. And then that's when they come in with the card and say, well, there is a solution to this. And you go, yeah, what's that then? Well, you got to come, if you come back down and you learn to be better and learn how to, and then so then you're back round, then the memory gets wiped, you're back round again. And yeah, I'm sick of hearing that it's, they come back and they say it's all, I reviewed one NDE the other day, and the woman apparently met God, right? And God was saying how much he loved her and how much she had free will, right? And so she didn't want to come back to Earth, but God told her she had a mission, right? God told her she had a mission, right? And she was like, no, God, please, no, 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 I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. You must go back. No, God, no, God, no, God, no. And then the very next sentence, she goes, and then I was stuffed back into my body, right? So this is a God that tells you on the one hand that you've got free will, and then on the other hand, he stuffs you back into your physical body after you've told him you don't want to come back down here. And so it's just so much deception and manipulation and BS. And what I say to people is, you've got to get out of all this woo-woo stuff, because you're going to get trapped back down here again. You've got to leave the angels, the guides, the spirit animals, even the dead loved ones and the dead pets at the door when you leave here, because they will guarantee that use them against you. And people get upset and they get triggered, and I get it, right? Who doesn't want to believe that, Milo is there when you die, or your grandfather you was particularly close to? But these entities, they masquerade, they shapeshift, and the program, the AI program, will work out what manipulation is going to hook you back round again. So they'll be like, okay, so Sonia was really close to her grandmother, so we could use her. And if that fails, then we've got the dog Milo. So there you go, down the false white light tunnel. Oh, there's the light. Get hit with the lump of energy. There's Milo. And you're like, hey, Milo. And then the next thing you know, you're having a life review. You had your memory wiped, and then you're back down here on the circus to be used as a battery and a cow where you're getting prodded constantly, battered, bruised. And then the whole thing is going on round and round and round and round and round and round and round. So, yeah.
I would tell you, Tony, the one thing I tell everybody is, because they always ask me this, how do I get out of this? How do I truly get out of this when I die? And I said, don't have a reason to stay. It's as simple as that. Do not have a reason to stay. Truly want out. And nothing and no one will stop you, because you are your own worst enemy. This place was designed and at a different point where the trap works like this. Love is used against you.
Yeah.
It is a Chinese finger trap. The harder you pull, the tighter it gets. And that's called love. And that's the worst of all, isn't it? They use our best thing against us. Yeah. That's how this has worked for so long.
Yeah, they do, and it's quite sad in a way. And I was talking about this on another podcast the other day, and the fact that I think as humans we naturally want to believe that people have our best intentions. We naturally want to believe that people are honest. We naturally want to believe that, and we naturally want to look at the good in everything. And so what they've done, and in a way it's kind of quite an innocence, and you can kind of liken it to like children, I guess. And so what they've done is that exactly what you say. They've used, which is a strength as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not like love in a pure form is it's very transmutive, and yeah, I'm not saying don't love, but I'm just saying they're using our innocence and naivete against us. So
Yep.
we've got to toughen up, right? This is we've got,
Yep.
and I always say like this information, the soul trap entities, this is like the cherry on the pile of dog shit, right?
Mhm.
You can't get any worse than knowing about the soul recycling, how they manipulate the life reviews and all of that.
Mhm.
But once you get it, and it takes a few months, and sometimes you go through a grieving process because you've got to digest the fact that your mum might not be there, and your mum's shape-shifting entity, or whatever, and there's a grieving process with it. But once it sinks in and you integrate it and you embody it and you get it, then you have the keys to get yourself out of here, because
Exactly.
it's just a decision. It's just a decision. When you pass, I'm leaving this matrix. And the problem is they're not sure where they're going. They don't research anything in their physical lives, because ignorance doesn't die when we die. And there's so much NDE propaganda now. They even made a Netflix series about it. Even the kids, there's a Disney film called Soul. So everyone's
Oh,
getting, yeah, everyone's getting hit with the afterlife programming, the NDE. And these
oh my
NDEs are
God.
agents for the Matrix coming down. There's so many YouTube channels blowing up now with full of NDEs. And I link this to the fact also that because of the you-know-whats, more people are
Yep.
dying, heart issues, cancers going through the roof, especially in young
I-
people.
yeah. Can I say something about that?
Yeah,
It's a I don't know what you want to call it, but I know what it is. Weapon.
yeah,
How I said
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
I link this stuff together. There's patents pulled for that stuff starting back in 2002. There's
yeah,
a guy named David Martin who works in the patent department who's been screaming for the last 15 years. Okay.
yeah,
Half of it is AI technology starting on a crystalline tech Pico going into a graphene hydroxide nano self-building with MAC addresses attached. Okay. The other half is neurotoxins, 136 neurotoxins. And here's the thing, they're geared to open on time release. So after a 3-year mark, some of that will start opening again, and we're going to have a big, what do you want to call it, kind of scenario.
yeah,
Because 136 neurotoxins are not all open, you would die instantly. But if I opened 2 or 3 to begin with, then opened another, and then at each interval, because it's time released, it's
yeah,
going to look like what?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because if everyone just collapsed at the same time, then we would all know it was obvious. But yeah, I think you're right. Over the next sort of 10 years or so, we're going to see waves of this. But yeah, so that ties into my point of more people are dying, and so they're putting more NDE propaganda out there. So when people are getting sick, they're coming across this stuff, and they're like, "Oh, thank God, even when I pass, it's going to be all right, because the light tunnel is going to greet me, and then Auntie Jane's going to be there, and Milo's going to be there, and
Think about that one show, the one show that promoted this more than anything, The Ghost Whisperer. Go to the
yeah.
light! Go to the light!
You know what? I need to watch that. I haven't seen that. Is that?
I saw that one thing and I couldn't take it anymore because I've known this for decades when I woke up out of this shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, what I'm saying to people is, look, I'm not telling people what to do when they pass. What I'm going to do is, for me, this part is complicated by it gets complicated by some researchers out there. I don't see it as complicated as it is. I feel like it's just, okay, I'm done here. I don't want your light tunnel. I don't want to engage with any entities. I'm leaving this matrix. And if your intention, because at that level, the astral level, its intention is instant. When you have a thought, you're there. This is why people are getting, even the people that aren't sure, when you research these NDEs, they're like, I knew I didn't quite want to come back, but I wasn't sure what I was doing. And that's, again, when the matrix will come in with one of someone that maybe a hooded figure or something, a robed figure, because they love their robes, because people associate robes with knowledge and stuff. and then they find themselves in this big Greek like temple with a library, and so. And that's because they're not sure. They're like, "Oh, where should I go?" And then all of a sudden, the Matrix comes in and go, "Well, come with us. You know, we want to show you something, right?" And then all of a sudden, they're hooked in, and then the next thing you know, they're having a life review, and it all starts again. So it's just a case of, right, I'm not coming back. I'm leaving here, and your subconscious will, or your consciousness will take you maybe to a portal, or rip a hole out of the fabric of the matrix, or it's all symbolic, really. And I believe it's simply a decision. And so I'm very cautious about the word soul trap, because it implies that we are trapped here, and I don't think we are. I would say it's a soul trick, right? We've been tricked here. Yeah. They would love to believe, they would love us to believe that we're trapped here forever and we can never get out. And I don't believe that to be the case. In fact, I know it's not the case, because they wouldn't be so panicky about what's going on right now. They know that people are starting to wake up. You know, the censorship and you know, all the stuff that they're putting out. And so when one soul gets out of here, you're taking a battery out of the simulation, because as humans, we're incredible energy generators. Incredible. I mean, if we only knew the half of it, right? But of course, the agenda is to keep us little me syndrome. You know, who am I?
I do want to say this real quick. One of the reasons we're so locked down is because they put that artificial chakra system in us. The chakra system is connected to different parts of your brain, okay? Well, if the chakra system is on there, think of it as a straitjacket. You can't use it. It's funneled in. So that means all these parts of your brain are being locked down also, along with those chakra systems. Once they're gone, and then your brain can fully, what do we use, 7% of our brain if we're lucky?
Yeah.
What would you do if you had 100% of your brain functioning?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right about the chakras. I've taken a lot of heat down the last decade.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I did a whole video on when I looked into it, because I'm actually a remote viewer. So I looked into what this was all about, and it's like, son of a bitch. Yeah. Oh my God. And I did a whole video on it. It's on my Patreon. But 2 hours, 2 solid hours of non-stop information. And it's like, oh my God, we have the answers. They're locked inside of us. Yeah. We have to learn how to unlock everything we know. And we can't find the answers outside of here. We got to find them inside of us, because we really do carry the keys to the castle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the chakras also allow entities to lock into your energy field and siphon off your energy. So,
I mean, your biggest field is your biofield. 80% of your health is in your biofield, and most people don't even know they have one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but you know, the problem is like when I first come across chakra removal, it was like because you know you wake up and then you fall into the spiritual nonsense, don't you? So at that point, I was like, no, the chakras, what? Not the chakras, because they've made them so beautiful with the rainbow colors.
Yeah, shine up your chain. Make them nice and shiny.
Yeah, the lotus flowers, and you know, it's just. I was like, that would just be so typical of them, of making what is the most evil etheric implant the most beautiful on the surface, right? And when you remove that overlay, it's like night and day. You know, the mind chatter gets dialed right down. You don't realize how many of your thoughts are not your own, like negative ones.
Oh yeah. It doesn't help with that voice to skull technology. And then you have the parasites that are inside of you. And then you have the etheric parasites. Oh my God, we are attacked.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah. I mean, when you actually stop and think about how many ways we're attacked, like it's in the water, it's in the food, it's in the air, it's on the mind, you know, the TV, that's another war on the mind. Then you've got the energetic level in terms of overlays, entities, etheric implants, holographic themes, grids. And then you've got the constant fear being pushed. I mean, we're not in warfare in just one way. We're under several, but I always like to flip it, because you can look at that and you can think, oh my God, we're screwed. Look at what they're doing. But
We're
why
not
do they,
screwed.
why do
We're
they
fighting
need,
back.
why do they need to do all of that, right? Because they know how frigging powerful we are, right? We just don't know it. That's the thing.
Yeah,
We've
yep.
just not, that's the biggest thing that we need to wake up to is just how
Yeah, we've been
incredibly
so
powerful.
dumbed down and led to believe that we need, why do they put all these false foundations into everyone? There was a reason. If you wanted to control an entire species, you're going to put in your own false foundations. What do they always say? History is his story. That
Yeah,
way you can manipulate and then you just go from there. I
yeah,
mean, at one time, when you look at our old Antiquitech and you look at giants, that was us.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was us.
yeah, yeah,
Now look at us.
yeah, I know. And yeah, like you say, they want everyone dumbed down. They don't want people questioning anything, speaking up about anything. And I mean, they're terrified. Like people, I have a lot of people that get fearful when you start talking about entities and stuff like that. And they're like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain.
Yeah.
They make out that they're big, powerful, and they run everything and they're all conquering. But really, once we realize who we are and realize what we're dealing with, which is basically they're parasites, they're like mosquitoes. I
They're
mean,
absolutely.
some are a little bit more problematic than others when it comes to attachments. But essentially, in comparison to what we are, they are the wizard, they are the old man behind the curtain.
Yep.
And so, this is what I'm saying. Like, we can look at everything they're doing and think, oh my God, we're screwed. But no,
No, we're not.
we're not. And they know what we are. And the biggest gig that they've had to deceive us is keeping that from us and making us believe that we're not what we
Mm-hmm.
really are. And so
Yeah.
everything's an inversion in this world,
Mm-hmm.
the, the lies are the truth, and war is peace, and freedom is slavery, and all this, and that's another inversion. The fact that we are incredibly powerful beings, but we walk
Mm-hmm.
around thinking we're nothing, we're worthless, we're just, and
Well, that's the indoctrination.
they're always telling us how.
Can you imagine? They start when you're in kindergarten. Shut up, obey, stand in line. Your voice is not heard. You are to be seen, not heard.
Yeah,
This kind of a thing. I
yeah,
mean, we have a Trinity system. You got a brain here, you got a heart that's a brain, which is your biggest thing, and then you have your gut brain. They have severed us from our Trinity. And when you sever the brain from the heart and the gut from the heart, and it makes a full Trinity, you've got us. You've got us lock, stock, and barrel. You've got us. We
yeah,
have to pull our Trinity back together. All of these have to be working in unison. Your heart is the biggest, strongest part of your Trinity because the power that comes out of your heart, it's a powerhouse,
yeah,
literally.
yeah. And it's
And it's
interesting.
also connected to these stupid chakras.
Yeah,
So these top chakras are connected to this part of the Trinity. These are connected to this part of the Trinity, and the bottom's connected to the other part.
yeah,
So what happens when you put a chakra system in? You divide the Trinity, and all of a sudden your
absolutely.
brain is gone.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so essentially what you're talking about is what I refer to as the Dantian points. So they're three like natural chakras, which you would refer to as
Mm-hmm.
infinity. And that, yeah, they've locked in the 7 fake chakra implant into that,
Yep.
which is what you're saying is they're compartmentalizing like
Yes, they
essence
did.
energy. So when you think about it logically, why would an intelligent creator compartmentalize the flow of energy with a chakra system? He wouldn't do it, would it?
You wouldn't. You would be one whole working unit.
Absolutely, yeah. So when you remove that implant, there's more flow, and so yeah, it's. But you try telling a hardcore New Ager that
Yep.
a hardcore New Ager that the chakras are BS, and that you'll just get looked with a stare of death.
I'm sure, because I've said it to a lot of them. It's like, you need to put that down. I've even had people leave my channel because I'm adamant about this is a straight jacket. You
Yeah, yeah,
don't get it. It's a straight jacket
yeah,
because it
absolutely.
stops your Trinity from working.
Yeah,
We're electromagnetic. Just like a horseshoe magnet, we have the positive and the negative ions, okay? We
yeah,
work the same way. And if we work in unison and everything was working, there is nothing we couldn't do.
yeah,
Nothing.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think this is what we're seeing right now. I feel like we're in a crescendo now of where everything's coming to the surface. There's so much. I mean, there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation out there as
Well,
well.
you know that's on purpose. The first thing they did was infiltrate this community. I
Yeah,
was never a part of this community in my life because I stayed out of the hell out of cyber world until I got divorced, and I was basically forced into cyber world because I needed somebody to talk to.
yeah,
So I ended up going into a group. The first person I ever met in cyber world was, I don't know if you know her, Kelly Coffey. Now she's
yeah,
Kelly Phoenix.
yeah. I do know. Yeah,
I went into her thing. I went into her Patreon. I was there for a little while, and she's like, Sonia, you need to make a channel. You have so much information. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I ain't going in there. I might come visit Cyberworld on occasion, but I'm not doing it. Wasn't until I went into all of this, and that's when some of the people in a different group that came from that group were like, Sonia, you need to start a channel. And
yeah,
then one of the people was really behind me was Arthur. He's like, Sonia, you have so much information. You need to get it out. And it's like, man, I don't want to be a part of cyber world because that wasn't my life. Look,
yeah.
I got TV off decades ago. I didn't do movies, TV. I was sick to death of it. I just wanted to retire and then die and then get the hell out of here.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's really interesting, right? You know, when they locked us down the first time in when the illness was here, um, I remember going to sleep that night, and I think everyone was in shock, right? Even though I knew it was all BS, like I was like, I can't believe they're locking people in their homes and people are going along with it, right? And I remember, you know, sometimes when you're asleep, you get like these kind of messages or insights. And this insight, I'll never forget it. It said this was exactly what it said. It was like, Tony, do what you need to do and get the fuck out. That was literally the message.
Yeah.
And you know, at first I was like, I didn't really know what to make of it, but I now I think I do, and I had a comment on my YouTube channel from one of my subscribers, and it was very powerful what he said. He said, the most important thing that you can do in this lifetime is learn how to die properly. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds morbid, but it's true. It's like unless you really love it here and you want to come back, and I get all the new agers tell me, oh no, it's not that bad here, you know.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, all right. So, so go and tell that to the Mexican family that I just saw rummaging through the bin this morning, right, with their two kids, right? Tell them that it's not bad. Like, you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah,
but
well, the majority of this reality is in poverty. Most of this reality, this
yeah,
snow globe, is in poverty.
yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And you know, people in the I mean, I'm fortunate. I've done a lot of traveling in my life, and I mean, I lived in Cambodia for 2 years, and I was helping a guy with no legs. You know, his family. He was living in a shack, right, and on a river, and the river would flood, and there was all sewage, so everyone's sewage would go into his home, right, and
Oh my God. Yeah.
he couldn't work because he would walk along on his arms, right, and he like it was just incredible the poverty. So anyway, a few of us got together, and we started a campaign, and we helped him. We bought him a bike, a special disability bike, and all this other stuff. But because I have seen both sides, I know that when you're stuck in your Western home in your living room with the TV, because they don't show you all the stuff, like there might be
No.
snippets.
No.
You don't you're separated
Yeah.
from what's really going on out there.
Yeah.
And having traveled a lot, I've seen so much of the poverty and you know what is interesting? Those people are always the most happiest. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is. It's
I do know what
even though
it is.
they have nothing, they are always the most friendliest, the most. They've always got
I'm here
smiles
to
on
tell
their
you what it
face.
is. It's the cursed Babylonian money system. There's a curse on it.
Yeah,
And the more you have, the worse you become. The
yeah,
more charities you got to have, the more greed you become, the
yeah,
more avarice you are. Have you ever noticed the people with the most are the worst?
yeah, yeah,
The worst. It's the curse. There is a curse, a literal curse, a sigil, literal curse on all of the money systems.
yeah, yeah. I don't doubt that, but it's just. you know, this is why it annoys me when people say, well, you know, it's not that bad here. And well, yeah, maybe for you, but even for those people, if you actually unpack it, right? Like, all right, if it's not that bad for you, you try going to another country without your slave book passport, right? And tell me that you have free will, right? Because yeah, we do have free will here. No, you don't. You have the illusion of free will. Um, and yeah, my heart breaks every day for the people that are suffering here, not only just, but also the generations. Like, I mean, I read this book called Hellstorm about what really happened in World War II and to the German women and children and old people. I mean, graphically, like the Allies were going around raping them and torturing them. I mean, but you don't get told that part of it. You get told that the Allies were heroes, right? And I just like they were just unbelievable how they were treated and just like this has been going on for generations. People have been tortured, maimed, murdered, and then you have people trying to justify it that we're learning lessons. Like people will literally say, God needs a child in Gaza to be beheaded by a bomb because it wants to experience. Are you still there? Oh, hello.
Are you still there?
Oh yeah.
You
Sorry, you
just
cut
cut
out.
off.
Yeah, yeah. So, like people will say, like these new ages will say that God, we need to suffer so God can experience suffering.
No,
No. Well,
no.
how many times does a child need to be decapitated by a bomb for God to understand and
There's,
experience that pain,
yeah,
right? It's
there's a big thing. There's nothing new under the sun. What's your excuses?
yeah, exactly.
There's
But
nothing new under the sun. This keeps going over and over, reset after reset after reset. And it's the same scenarios. It's becoming mundane and boring, actually, to the point of why are we still here?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's why they call it research and retire as well. I mean, it's all in the etymology.
Yep.
And it really annoys me when people try and sell this place as something that it's not and make
Yeah.
excuses for it. And
Yeah.
this matrix always wants to blame you, right?
Yeah.
It's your karma. It's your you know, it's your lessons you need to learn. It's they never want you to look at this place for what it is to say, do you know what? Actually, this it's not me. You know, this is not me. This place is set up for trauma and suffering and don't get
Mm-hmm.
me wrong, you know, you can enjoy moments in nature with other people, like, you know, I'm not saying you've got to be down and depressed walking around because that also
No.
feeds into the matrix, right? You've got to poke fun of it, you've got to laugh at
Yeah.
it. Hopefully it's your
And
last
you
time
have to be
here.
here. So I'm not going to be miserable every day.
No,
But
no.
you have to know what you're in.
Yeah, you
And you
have
know,
to
it's
know.
very important to know that. Don't be afraid of death. You're an eternal being. Get
Yeah,
the hell out while you can. Don't stay. Don't find a reason to stay because they'll find it for you if, you are
yeah.
not resolved and I'm not staying. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and this is why it's very important that people let go of their rigid matrix belief systems. So
Hmm.
if you're adamant that karma is a thing, they're going to use that card against you. But I mean, for
Yeah.
me, if I'm engaging with some kind of deity or entity or someone that is telling me it's my mum, I know I've gone too far, right? I know I've gone
Yeah.
too far.
Well, here's the
And
thing. If you keep getting reinserted back into the incarnation scheme scam, there's no one there to be waiting for you, is
yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
as simple as that. Once you factor that one piece of information in, that one piece of puzzle, then everything unfolds and falls apart, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But you know, it's very interesting when you study these NDEs. Particularly the memory wipe. There was one NDE that I researched, and the guy said that you know a lot of abortions are babies that don't want to be born, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this comes out a lot in some of the sessions that I do with regressions and stuff like that. The babies actually choose. They get so far, and they realize it's so dense and dark, and that they actually end up aborting. So abortion is actually not always the fault of the mother or a physical issue. It's sometimes just the soul. It's like, hang on, no, I can't do this, and it will abort mission basically. But but there's actually there was one guy who had an NDE, and they said, right, we need to, before you come back down, you've got to go through the veil of forgetfulness, the memory wipe. And he was like, no, 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 not that again, no, no, no. And they said, well, look, you know, you've got a mission that you need to fulfill, right? That old card. But so what we're going to do to make it easier for you, we'll put you into the Vow of Forgetfulness training school, right? So there's like a training center where they build you up, right, and prepare you to enter the human body via the Veil of Forgetfulness. So there's actually training centers of before you come down, and there's been reports of like souls like in like a big like ring fenced like cattle, you know. It really is whatever's going on there is similar to what's going on here in every sense. So just like we have schools, there's schools for the BS that they're doing there as well. So it really is crazy. So yeah, just be very strong in your intention when that time comes, right? Okay, I'm dead. Okay, I'm off. I'm going. I don't want to speak to you. I'm going. I'm leaving. And you know, I believe that we have I believe that we have the choice to either stay as a fragmented part of essence, which is what we are right now. I think we are a wave within the ocean, and we can go back to the ocean, or I believe we can choose to have other experiences as the wave in other matrices. Maybe not as.
I will tell you this: when I go out of this, I'm going to do everything I can to shut this bitch down.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I'm sorry, but that's going to be my only reason for existence.
Yeah. I'll make you right with that. I think by what you're doing, it's already doing a lot. So yeah, I think for me, I'm going to help as many people while I'm here, and if there's anything I can do on my way out, I'll surely do it for sure. But I do feel like it's like I said before, you know, you start taking the batteries out of the simulation starts to fail, right? And eventually it shuts down. So I don't know exactly how much we need to do in terms of like warfare when we leave. So, but yeah, like maybe throwing a few etheric bombs at some of these training centers.
Tony, I've had many conversations with Wendy, because Wendy's like, this place is corrupt. We got to shut it down, Mom. Let's get it together. When we go, you wait for me, or you don't wait for me. Go outside. I'll be outside waiting for you, and then we're going to work together as a team, and we're going to shut this bad boy down. It needs to be shut down. It's too far gone. It's too far gone.
Yeah, it is. And you know, for all the generations that went before us that suffered, you know, in countless wars and famines, and that, you know, I look at, I don't have children, but I've got a young niece and nephew who I adore, which really in the times where I can't be bothered with this anymore, it's like they keep me going, because I can't leave here without not you know, doing what I need to do, what I feel I need to say, because those next generations, I don't want to have the same suffering as what we do, or at least I want them to have the keys to get out of here as well, you know.
I will tell you, I heard some ridiculous BS, and that was, oh, the reincarnation system shut down. No, it's not.
Yeah.
That thing is still pumping. It's still working, or we wouldn't have to deal with this. And you know it's still working.
Yeah.
It's not, but no one's shutting that down.
Yeah.
We're going to have to shut it down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think what we do is going to shut it down. What we do or don't do is going to shut it down. And yeah, and this is why there's a big rush. There's almost like a race to the finishing line. So are they going to get their technological enslavement in, where we're all going to have digital IDs and CBDs, central banking, digital currencies, and social credit scores, and we're all going to live in like the Chinese world that they want? Or are we going to raise enough awareness about what's happening? And I mean, I don't.
I will say this one thing. 48 hours. There was a Navy SEAL who worked in this department on this, you know what, and said that 48 hours without any Wi-Fi, no hard lines around you, this stuff inside of us disassembles and
Really?
cannot reassemble. This is huge information. I can't remember the guy's name, but I'll give it to you.
Oh, that's huge.
It's huge. I saw this was it last year? He's
Yeah.
a Navy SEAL. He's this black dude, and he's married to this white woman, and they're both in the same field. They married, and now they've been diving deep on how to get rid of half of this, which is the nanotech, self-building, replicating technology, putting motherboards inside of you, giving you a MAC address. 48 hours with no Wi-Fi. Why do you think they're putting up all the towers and then the little towers, which they call satellites? Satellites were never up there. They're down here with us. They're down here with us. That Elon Musk is really dark. I'm sorry. They're building him up to be something. Those satellites are not above us. They always have you looking in the wrong direction, because I see that the satellites are little, and they call them satellites because they're a fraction of the size, and they're putting them to bounce the signals like this. 5G has been banned since the 1940s. It was a Nazi weapon. It's on the books. But if we don't enforce the laws, look what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that's our last hurrah. And we like I say, I think just to leave it on a good note. I mean, try and have fun while you're here, laugh while you're here, get out in nature, enjoy your things, enjoy your creativity.
Yeah, nature's the big one. Those negative ions, this is a biological machine, and the negative ions help self-repair us. You know why they hated tree huggers? Because tree huggers work like pyramids. The ether and the ground, and it's a conduit in between. So when you go and wrap your arms around a tree, you're getting the energy from the ether to the ground, and it's basically balancing you out. That's why you should be walking barefooted too.
Absolutely.
So nature is number one. You know what the opposite of AI technology is? Nature technology, because all of it's in a sim. But one is designed on a spiral, and the other is the flower of life. The flower of life is the evil AI, and the one that's a spiral is the natural AI.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. That went really quick. We'll have to do that again sometime.
Yeah, we will, Tony. I have a plethora of things to talk about too.
Yeah. Great.
I was really surprised to find you. I just found you the other day. I've only watched one of your videos. I'm sorry, because I'm kind of slambasted for all the stuff I'm having to do too.
That's all right.
I just saw one video, and I'm like, okay, he's awake enough.
Yeah,
I know what I have to say.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I remember being in the void.
Yeah.
And I remember when I came across the very dark being, we can call him the Archon because there's no name for this thing. All of us are inside of that dark being. Yeah. And this is where everything was created by the energy beings, because it's collecting us. Yeah. Like when the original source, just think of it as static logic, wanted to know what else. It pushed out of it the feminine aspect, the emotion, the mover, the creator. That's all of us. We are the emotion, the mover, the creator. When we were trapped by the archonic being, we built everything inside of here, all solidity, all realities. We built the first bodies, which were insectoids. And then from there, we built other things. We're still trapped inside of the Archon. And getting out of this simulation is only one freaking level. And I talk about this now and then, but it scares the hell out of people. Yeah. Because they don't want to know how deep the rabbit hole goes. Yeah. Good. All right, I'm going to have to leave it there, unfortunately. Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to dump that on you.
No, no, it's all right. I'll just I got a client coming up, so
Okay, so it was great talking to you. I'll get the video. I'm going to post it on YouTube. YouTube keeps giving me strikes. It's taken down. They've taken down 30 videos of mine
oh
already. But
my,
you know
same
what
as
they do?
me.
They strike me. They strike me. I'm at strike two. And then the next one is, this is just a warning. We're
Yeah,
going to give you a warning. I should have been gone the first year I was here.
yeah,
Someone's not letting me go.
yeah, yeah, same. I had two strikes on my account. I actually took my channel down for 3 months and waited for the strikes to expire. So, um,
I
but
don't care. I'm like this, Tony. I don't give a shit. If I'm meant to be there, I'm there. Somebody has got my back. I don't know who it is. I am a remote viewer. What happens when looking glass technology doesn't work anymore? You need people like me to see what's coming. Before they bring the shot out, I was telling everybody you are going to become Borg because I saw it.
yeah,
So they took everything I have is on Odyssey except for the first couple of videos. Other than that, I'm going to run my mouth. I don't care. I don't care. You'll never stop me.
good for you. Same.
Okay, I'll let you go so you can do your next thing. Bye.
All right. I'll speak to you soon. But I'll send.
Okay,
Bye bye.
all right, bye-bye.